Hello and welcome to another match analysis. Today I'm going to discuss about the match between Chelsea versus Tottenham. Well, it is a game faced full of goals. Well, the thing is, not scoreline will give you a perfect idea about a certain match. You might be feeling like Chelsea demolishes Tottenham completely. Well, in a way it is, but I could say that the match is more than just the goals, and Tottenham actually has put up a lot of effort, and eventually they dominated the first half before the red card strikes in. So I'm going to discuss deeply regarding that part and analyze everything regarding this. So let's take a look how things work. As we can clearly see over here that Tottenham has started 4-3-2-1 formation, which is a classic one according to them, where Kulusevski and Johnson holding up the wing position song at the central strike zone, Madison forming the classic 10. But this formation will change into transitions when they are being pressed bad enough by Chelsea. Their formation moves towards a little bit like this, which is 4-4-2 formation, and that formation has a secondary option as well. That secondary option is when they are building from the back. Exactly, in that case their formation will definitely look like something like this, where Romero and Van de Ven, they are actually building it from the back, and Pedro Porro, Besuma and Udogi at the central position, precisely 2-3-4-1, and giving a lot of space to the wing position. That was the total scenario of the Tottenham's position in the transition. Well, as it can be seen over here precisely, Chelsea started off with 4-2-3-1 formation. But this formation doesn't stick altogether because there will be some transitions. Due to those transitions, the formations changed a lot, because when they're getting semi-press from Tottenham, their formation moves from 4-2-3-1 to 4-3-3 balanced formation, where Enzo, Caicedo and Gallagher holding up the midfield, Starling, Jackson and Palmer at the top front. And when they are being pressed further, this 4-3-3 balanced formation further transform into 4-4-1-1 or 4-4-2 formation, making sure that they have a good amount of space in their hand to justify the attack and nullify it as much as possible. Similar like this. And that's how their transition does work. So basically the game progression was something like this. Chelsea has two brilliant wingers who can run fast with the ball and make a lot of space for them. One is Sterling, other one is Palmer. So Tottenham manager just make sure that initially what they has to do, they just simply cuts off the space for Raheem Sterling and Palmer. For that, what they have done, they make sure that Kulusevski and Johnson will stick together from their counterpart, and making sure that they nullify each other in the game to progress. And once they have done it, the wing play of Chelsea was completely off. And in that situation, they have no other clue just to play from the middle. And that middle was also nullified and countered by Postecoglou brilliantly. What was it? So initially what they precisely have done, they make sure that they simply overload the midfield. How? Just Udogi moves towards the center, Johnson shifted a little bit wider, and Bissouma to be here, and creates a situation of the 5-men supremacy in the midfield. See, just over here, Palmer crosses, but see the Kulusevski's position. Well, as Chelsea able to see that their wings are not working and it's being compromised badly and neutralized by Kulusevski and Johnson, they started to press from the middle. Now to do so, they are moving towards a high press line and making sure that their defense line is pretty high, so that they can actually consider the offside rule pretty much possible way. So what exactly they have done, when Tottenham starts building up from the back, they used to make sure that Gallagher will be moved forward to press while Kulusevski go outside, and Udogi is positioning himself inside the field, which is pretty rare part. I mean, you have seen any player to move like this. Rather, the side backs used to go forward in this way, but he never moved in that pattern. So what exactly happened? Udogi moved towards the inside part Sir move upwards from this segment, and Gallagher tries to push it through this situation from here. Bissouma was there, and eventually Caicedo was pretty much here. So they try to make a supremacy. But the problem is they never take into consideration that Madison moved from here to here multiple times, right? And as Udogi moves a false run forward, he actually carries away Enzo along with him, because Enzo was there to cut off this vacant space from here. So to cut this off, precisely he has to move forwards to the down line. Udogi simply takes him away again with him, and I can clearly see that the space Sar is getting here. Sar actually has getting a lot of space. And if you say that from here, when Madison got the ball, he simply pass it through in simple pattern in this way. Sar holds it up from here and push it through to the Kulusevski, and that creates the goal. So the positioning of Udogi and taking a false run from here onwards in this segment, and eventually making sure that Gallagher, Caicedo, Palmer all pushing hard so far but unable to make any spaces, just by a wizardly pass given by Madison and moving from center to this zone. Udogi takes away Enzo out of the equation and makes space for Sir. The most interesting part that I actually have experienced in this first part of the first half, that Udogi's inside cut runs, and that runs, which is pretty unusual, because these runs actually makes the midfield overload, and that works against Chelsea perfectly, because as he is moving towards this position, Johnson has a pretty much good space to work on, because Bismarck was there and they can have a good amount of triangular part to this, right? And eventually Madison was seldom might find himself to the left flank of the game, and act as well as link up with Johnson and create lots of opportunities from here as well. So these left side attacking zones from Tottenham's perspective was brilliant and worked fine, unless Udogi's rash challenges and Romero's rash tackle. Two errors from Tottenham side makes things worse for them. See the position of Udogi, how deep mid in the segment he is right now. Being a side back, he placed himself exactly in the central part of the field, and from here he just passed it along to Johnson. And what a brilliant pass it was. If Son was able to check his run a little bit, that was a brilliant score would have been possible, but this was disallowed. As the things are like that, due to two red cards, Romero and Udogi, Tottenham was down to 9 men. So that was pretty difficult for them to counter this attack. And on the other hand, Van de Ven, the centre back, and the wizard Madison was out due to injury. So they have nothing to do in that scenario. So to counter that, they use the high defense line, which can be seen on screen as well right now. The problem is high defense line is pretty effective in these kind of situations when you have lesser amount of people to defend on. But there is one problem. It requires enormous amount of discipline in the backline. If your backline is not disciplined enough, or it cannot be maintained properly, the chances the opponent will get, there is no chance to get back to it. Similar fashion, the things happened when actually Chelsea increases the lead by just a darting run by Sterling. If I just follow this one up, it can be easily visible in the screen. It's pretty much similar.